We're in the start after 7, so we'll go ahead and get started here and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Yes, sir. Molly and John here. Alice Bissett.
Here.
Walter Townsend.
Here.
Bill Heisen.
Here.
Ron Smith.
Here.
Dan Briscoe.
Here.
Roger Whitley.
Here.
Thank you.
Agenda modifications, found no further.
Yes, we do have, as number 3, after roll call, we have, Rock River here with us this evening. They are looking to get a COA. They've already met with the ARB and, obtained a preliminary approval. But, anyway, it was recommended that they come, and so they are here and ready to present, this evening.
Okay.
So it's true that we are approving everything for the ARB.
Not really anything.
We're approving the COAs.
I mean, we're not, we don't approve anything at work session.
Oh, and I just was asking because it kind of came
I'm
on.
just getting the information so we're open. But if you gentlemen you know, if you see where our fire chief normally sits, but he is not here at the moment, so I'd like to take a few minutes to tell us what we're talking about here.
Yeah, maybe probably good. So this is a house that we plan to build right here on East Main Street. Right side of the top and back. There was an existing house that burned down. And we plan to build.
So I talked to you what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What we did. Yes, sir. So we did. We met with ARB. We got preliminary approval. That was why we were under contract with the lot, just to make sure before we closed on it that we, definitely wanted to do a buy title today. That we could do over our path too. We did that, and this is very just the exact house that we plan on building the picture here. It is what we call a Cedar Creek. It's 1,514 square feet. The front porch is 192 square feet.
This is sort of similar to the new house, just one up out of 6.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it's looking a lot like.
Yes, sir.
It's a good looking old house.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, any questions?
Yes, I'm not familiar with everyone's lots, so I was wondering if you could tell me what this was.
It's the one that now has whatever the barriers called, environmental protection barrier around the front half of the lot. It's the black plastic
On
fence.
the left side of 6?
Yeah.
Just before you get to
Yeah, before you get to the water, it used to be a 2-story house
I
out there,
gotcha.
7 years ago, it caught fire. That's a lot. And you know about the options.
Yeah, and I totally get that. I just am not as well versed as you guys are. I'm sorry, it's very lives.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be nice to have a nice looking house.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Yeah, so ask these guys any questions that you have on mind right now and we'll take it forward for.
Or you all talked about this project before? Or- I know it's not-
ARB cheated on us for a little while, and we gave a big thumbs up. We try to have new builds in the house as far as our policy for the town, not try to replicate historic builds.
Okay, and
So
I,
it's actually very compliant with ARB. Everyone on that board looked at it and liked it, and gave it a big thumbs up, and now it's.
so there's no special use going on here, it's just.
For replacing a previous residence with new, brand new residence. How about that? So our council meeting is in 2 weeks on that Monday. If you're welcome to attend, we'll put it on the agenda, so we'll get council to vote on it, which you have to imagine they're not unanimously approving it. So have to
What's
vote
the
that.
vote about? What's the vote?
Absolutely told us.
Okay, so it's not an SUP, they just have to get
Just see.
permission
You
to.
just can't do anything without permission, especially in this one.
Okay, what name is story?
Just so you're on that date, is it next Monday? Yeah.
The 23rd.
The 23rd. There's only been last month, so 2 weeks. So we give the office staff more time to get all the things together. It's a real rush to get things together that week, so. We'll see y'all back here unless you have other questions for us right now. We'll see y'all back here in 2 weeks. So
Yes, sir.
get this
Do
thing.
y'all have any more questions for us?
What,
I think we're good.
when do you anticipate starting if we do okay?
We still have to, go through our permit process and that, all depending on that. But as soon as we can get our building permit, health permit, we're ready to go.
Okay, we appreciate it. We can possibly.
Just
curious.
in the 300s.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's great.
Yes, sir. 3 to 4.
Okay. And then you have an location.
We are building in Scottsville, back in Buckingham County.
Y'all did one about 20, a couple miles for Delwood.
Yes, that's right. We have, off of Patterson Road, also had, another brand, on the Grand Road. Just sold some on Sharps Creek. No. And then Happy Mountain.
Just keep in touch with Miss Elizabeth over there. If you have any questions, she's the zoning administrator, and she'll answer your questions if you have some.
Yes, sir. I really appreciate it.
Feel free to call.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you all that.
We'll get into our reports, so I'll make mine brief. Another thing, like I know it has been, especially the first few days after the snow, I didn't even think about doing anywhere, because if I don't stop at the end of my garage, I gotta go about in. It's not okay. But so whoever the good Samaritans were, Monday night after the snowstorm, I heard some noise out front. And there was 2 guys in bobcats, and they plowed the whole driveway and disappeared.
Very nice.
Yeah, I still have slice for
Your ship has its birth.
also, I met with Billy Brooks from the Yancey Community Center Friday, and we just had a general discussion about how we can work together as Sutton and Scottsville and events we can participate in up there, and events that might have people participating down here, whether it's just as simple as having a tent with information on the community center, the Yancey Community Center. So we had a nice talk today, and I apologize for not having your name written down. I met with the superintendent of the Buckingham school system. She is trying to work through her transportation department to get a bus like Alamo has that would bring students from over 60 students from Buckingham schools after school to the Boys and Girls Club. And she was working on that for those. And then I met with Laura Melissy, who is the president of the museum board. We talked about tourism and how we can work with other agencies in the state, and we've already had a contact from a firm in Pennsylvania that helps put the information out at interstate bus stops. So we got another meeting that's coming Saturday morning, so we'll have on that later, but that's basically it. I'll just turn it over to Chief Jenkins.
Thank you for having me. Significant calls for services past month. Traffic stops on a vehicle where the occupant was wanted on 3 outstanding warrants. As the vehicle comes to a stop, passenger opened the door and fled on foot. After a short foot chase, we were able to take him into custody without any further incident. He was held in jail. It assisted ACPD with a shots fired incident on Irish Road. Once on location, female advised us that an individual had been down on the property and fired several shots at her pigs that were fenced in the area of the property. No animals were injured, and basically continued that investigation. We also responded to a call for service for a subject having a mental health event. He lives there with his 2 elderly parents, but once we got on location, we were able to determine that he was actually having a very serious medical issue and not a mental health issue. So we called rescue, had him transported up to UVA Hospital, where he was able to be evaluated steady for a number of days before he was able to get better. I was responded to the old train station down here on East Main Street one morning, power lines across the railroad tracks. Once I was down there, I was able to learn that a piece of heavy equipment had pulled down a support line. And once the support line was pulled tight, the top of the power pole from the across the tracks come down, which brought all the lines down across the tracks. We had to stop the trains. ATCO come, help cut the power down, and then the train company actually got the wires off the tracks and we were able to open things back up. Let's see, we received a lookout for one subject who had failed to report back to work release in Nelson County. The subject was located out on Irish Road in Albemarle County and fled from ACPD officers. He was actually taken into custody up here at the intersection of Valley Street, King Further Road by ACPD. No further incident from him. We assisted community events. We assisted the United Methodist Church with their preschool annual field trip. You can see that our auxiliary officer donated 59 hours of their time to the town for the month of January. And I actually attended a meeting this morning about getting put on by Region 10 for the Region 10 Crisis Center. It's going 24/7. So they're just in process of finishing up the renovations up there. And what they're actually going to do is Region 10 is going to pay for SCOPs, they're conservators of peace police officers. And hopefully we'll just be able to drop and go so that the security folks will take over all of any mental health issues or persons that we take out there. They'll be able to take over the officers in the streets. But that seems to have been working out pretty good. Calls for service. Anyone have any questions on the call for service for January? Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's all I have. So,
Any questions from the chief?
did we try to talk anymore? I've got some emails about the snow removal. Or do we want to try to do that at another point? I know we had talked a little bit about do we want to have government services take a look at that snow emergency plan first, maybe make some recommendations back to the the public safety work group. Was there
We all working on.
we're not working on it yet.
I hadn't said that yet, now that you do mention that, I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. In the event of another Snowmageddon, Ikemageddon, or any type of snow event or whatever. And since we have a limited police force in Scottsville, I would think with jam or whatever, the primary place to clear right away, the priority would be the interested building here and around the police department, they all get in and out. Again, I do think the businesses are responsible for in front of their area. The only other places where I can see the town may be responsible for would be in front of Canal Basin, wherever. Since the other stuff is not there, I just don't see that being a priority, but I do want to make sure that if we do have another event, that they're interested in a couple of spots right out here, cleared and around the police station. That way we can maintain. Anybody disagree with that?
The only thing I was thinking is if you're over here in the parking lot doing a couple, you might as well just plow it, right? Or do you think that's just?
It all depends on the type of, I'm referring to Jam, but Jam doesn't have a plow. All I think he has is a small behind his own level of sand trapper.
If we had just had normal snow, we would with these ice on top of it is what best everything.
But it calls it possible, that coming Sunday and possibly Monday, and if that does happen, what we have on the ground still will be below.
Yeah.
So,
Can I just make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
So Tim Kersley and I had spoke and maybe talked about maybe putting this as a part of that all hazards plan for the emergency work group that we're working on. But what just as a suggestion, what I would think is maybe would it be a bad idea having government services take a look at what is it, the snow policy or the ordinance for the town, make any recommended changes, that way we're getting the buy-in. James, I don't know if the business owners want to be a part of that government services part, but anyway, we can get some buy-in from the government services, maybe the business folks, they bring it back to the work group, and then we can really sit down and hammer out an ordinance, a recommended ordinance for town council to consider.
We've got an ordinance. I said we have an ordinance, so you're talking about updating?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there were some people at the last meeting that had really talked about updating that ordinance, that was kind of outdated.
Well, with the comp plan coming out, we'll be looking at a lot of.
So maybe look at that. It's gonna take town council to try to figure out as well, going into that, all hazards plan for snow. You know, what's the benchmark that council would like, for us to say, okay, no parking? So I know Jack had sent me an emergency plan, evacuation plan, East Valley Street, maybe designating East Main Street. And Bill, you talked about East Main Street several times.
Yeah, a lot of people understand Bill.
But do we include Virginia, Valley Street and East Main Street? Is it just Valley Street? How does town council want to see that happen? Parking, gotta keep that in mind. For everybody from the businesses, once that snow hits. And what's the snow? I mean, this snow, they were talking about 2 to 3 foot. When Elizabeth and Tim and I spoke, we wanted to try to get our businesses back open and back to business as quickly as we could, so we just implemented Valley Street. I didn't have Buck's number at the time, but I have it now. So if that would happen, but what is the total inches of snow that you all would feel putting no parking signs on Valley Street, East Main Street would benefit? Is it a foot? 6 inches, 8 inches, that's nothing. People can drive over that, but a foot or more maybe.
Yeah, one thing would be to, make contact with VDOT and say, at what level of snow do you plow? Well, so
I think,
They don't plow.
when I worked with VDOT in the past, they would like for the plow not pushing things out to reach 2 inches. The reason being, so if you get a little bit and start running that plow, you can make it look like I think it's about 2 inches, but then again, it all depends on like what he said, what it down the mouth.
All of that
yeah,
in writing.
Few inches isn't gonna hurt anything. I think about 6 inches, 8 inches isn't gonna hurt anything. People can drive over the park, it's not gonna be impacted. But when you talk a foot or more, no, that this storm happened, when VDOT comes through and pushes against cars, you're gonna narrow Valley Street down to 1 lane. So that's why we made the decision to say, okay, no parking on Valley Street, just push it from street to curb. Hopefully the businesses can get back to business as quickly as they possibly can without impact, but. You know, East Main Street, you know, once you get past the apartments down there, there's not a lot of cars parked.
Chief, question for you. We know that travel on 20 coming and going from Buckingham is it 7,000 cars?
No, it was a couple of years ago. It might be more than that now.
But actually going back to this Maine, we have a feel for what the numbers are per day of people that go that direction.
I don't know, Mr. Briscoe, what the numbers are. I mean, it's a pretty traveled road at points for sure.
Well, the reason I'm asking is that I think for sure priority, you have to open up one. I mean, that's absolutely number one. But the question would be then, what would you implement number 2 or number 3 in terms of how we would follow what we're doing? Because the other part of it is Scottsville has to also have access to get, to a hospital or to other things. And so there's a difference in terms of how you prioritize. And so anyways, long and short of it, I think the right call is what we did. Question is, what are the next steps?
With emergency storm, a lot of people that live in Fluvanna County were actually coming through Scottsville because some of them in Fluvanna County like to try to go through Woodridge, 20 or 53 back that way, but those roads were not hit by the way. So a lot of people are actually coming through Scottsville because that actually got brought to the attention of Charlottesville because Scottsville was used as an example why couldn't Charlottesville keep up with like a small town like Scottsville? It's
I
pretty
did
cool.
hear that, yeah.
So what is bad as you thought?
It's all
Right,
relative.
right, plenty of information people talking to, and I think we should also make food open to it.
Maybe a native of Buffalo, New York would like to be on that committee.
Well, VDOT's gonna do all the roads anyways, right? So VDOT has the roads, businesses that are active on Valley Street are gonna have the sidewalks, so that leaves town staff covering our parking lots, police station.
I know Elizabeth has talked to, maybe possibly another person to plow the lots. I don't know if he ever got back with you. Did you?
No, I haven't heard back from him, but the lots that we specified were the town lot, Canal Basin Square, the police department. What am I forgetting? Behind the social club. And I think it was at one time we discussed around the farmers market, but I don't think that was ever decided upon.
We used to have a plow. On the old green truck.
One of the other questions I had a weird experience actually not being here for the first week of the storm and came back and still here. But what I was gonna say is one of the other issues about the businesses would be actually removing the snow, like in some places. That's another level also of talking about and where would we put it if we did move some snow? That's another question. So could we, so if you're gonna get stuff off of the areas around some of our businesses, we need a place to put it. And so I guess that's a question I would ask in terms of having a snow plan is it wouldn't be that complicated. I mean, again, we might need volunteers or some people to help open a few places that we could do, but you have to have a place to put it. It's not for me.
But you're
A
talking.
place to put it and a way to put it.
You're talking about taking it off the sidewalks and taking it, transporting it.
Well, I'm talking about that if we made available to. Again, maybe if we had a place to put snow, so to speak, that's another thing to consider to say businesses.
No. Yeah.
Well, I think
The only problem with that is when you pick up the snow and move it, then if it follows, then you have to make sure that wherever you're putting it, it doesn't run off in a certain area. Mr. Goodwin said the other meeting we had in here, when you clear the sidewalk, if you want to meet the ADA recommendation, there needs to be at least 3 foot path. That's the average size for wheelchair, a 3 foot path. I don't have the exact measurement, but a lot of these sidewalks in front of the businesses, if the business owner wasn't clear a 3 foot path, they could push that. No, then again, like I said, it'd have like a little bit of a hill or a mound in between the actual road or whatever, but
well, a lot of things we're forgetting too is that stuff applies when we're not in a state of emergency.
Yeah.
And so how long does that continue, that state of emergency continue, where it's just essential to get walking space, and then as you know, stuff melts and you're not in a state of emergency, then you can think about stuff like that. And I think that an important thing to recognize here too is that our snow policy works 99% of the time. It seems to be doing all right. And this is a very rare storm that we got, at least from experience. So maybe what we do instead is pick that number. What is it? Is it a foot or is, whatever that number is, pick that and then maybe reach out to a pool of volunteers that would be willing to come out and say, hey, we're expecting this much. Could you be on standby? Could you do this, this, and this? And then I think the only other thing to do, if you have that set up, is picking where you want to pick first. What are your priorities?
I don't believe we need a whole new policy, but we need to just.
You understand.
But I do think the whole thing out of anything, if clearing the streets makes all the difference in the world. I mean, like you said, if you get a car that gets snow up against it. The person could say, you know what, I didn't push that snow up against my car, so I'm just leave it there. So yeah, I think it's important, we clear the streets, it makes all the difference. We had some vehicles in Charlottesville that ice and stuff went up to the top of the door where the window is, and some of the vehicles are still behind the,
So is it okay fair to say then, we'll push this to government services and maybe get to the, chamber. Let them take a first whack at it. But then, once you're all done with it, then you all will push it over to us.
Okay.
That's Walter,
That's that.
Huntington, Kersley, and Cars,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, we all sit on that work group.
Yeah.
That all hazards work group, and we'll include this plan with all hazards plan and bring it all into the council for approval. How's that, Clint? Yes, it will.
One comment. It doesn't have to be how many inches of snow. If you look at like what the National Weather Service, you know, just like tornado, they've got hold ups to make sure we're say watches and advisories and warnings. When you get to a warning, it's heavy snow of 6 inches in 12 hours, or 8 to 24 hours. And it also includes ice accumulation, cold and more. So if you have the weather service indicating us winter storm warning, that may be strict, not us going out there and going like that, 3 inches.
Yeah, and that way it's, if you get 11 inches and 12 is your set off, you're not dropping it off on that.
And if the citizenry complains, you know, you got some kind of science there behind it. Well, the weather guys have said, you know, it's just going to be a advisory, but you can always ramp it up if it comes on. So,
But if that is for warning, won't they put warnings in effect for 6 inches? So if the issues with 6 inches, we close it off the street.
well, that would might be the trip one. But instead of like going out there and saying, you know, weather guys just said 4 inches, but it turned into 6. Could have missed. I don't know. You know, it's instead of working, but it also includes ice. You know, half inch of ice killed it.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, that's the thought.
Next snow season, we'll have something.
Next week.
Next week.
No, that's been cheap. Just got one up in the last car and I'm parking up ahead.
Fire chief is not here this evening, but I'll ask, Mr. Carr, is there anything from the fire department that needs to be relayed to the council at the most?
No, he said, my apologies, forgot about the meeting, but I have nothing to share.
Okay, thank you so much.
Kind of say one thing, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Just back to Mr. Carr, I know it's not this topic we covered last time, but again, please recommend to us whatever you see or whatever you know. We want to make sure, I mean, you're our guide on that subject, and so again, apologies for any miscommunication, and you said you had it figured out by next week and all fixed. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Right, intended.
Intending.
I talked to Mr. Bowling earlier today, he said he was not going to be, he didn't plan to join us this weekend, he says he was here last week. He was on the phone last week, he joined us last week. County Administrator, do you have anything before later on in the program when we get to staff stuff?
I have a report. If you want me to talk to those things, it's in your package also. Just telling, recap of what I've done. I did prepare and mail some B-Pole collection letters to delinquent businesses last week. Literally on Thursday and Friday, I have not heard anything back from them. I drafted a policy for the town's LGIP funds. We will talk about that here in a little bit. But I used language and concepts from a document that Councilor Bill Heisen prepared. FOIA requests, I responded to 3 separate FOIA requests, including requests from Councilor Bill Heisen and Stotts Reels related to the Government Services Committee last Wednesday. They were asking for information on the LGIP funds. It's the Caldwell Fund is part of the LGIP funds, yes. So I'll just say that I don't think that that's appropriate to provide financial documents to a committee before the town council receives the information. Although, you know, the information was given on Wednesday during our regular or special session. Other FOIA requests, I've gotten numerous FOIA requests from the guy regarding the flock cameras. I can't think of his name right now. So, anyway, I have responded to those FOIA requests. He's basically asking for minutes and then council the video. And the FOIA process, or the FOIA, we are obligated to take minutes. We are not obligated at all to do video meeting and present. If we do the minutes, then like we're doing the videotape right now, then we are required to present that, but it's only presented once it's done. And as far as the minutes go, the minutes, you have to do it within a certain amount of time after you all have approved the draft minutes. There, other than that, there's no deadline. So I believe he's a little confused about that. But nonetheless, it takes time to send a response to him. Numerous times that I've done that. And then the other one was a FOIA request, again for minutes, and that was by our former town clerk, Amy Moyer. So I don't know what to say other than the FOIA, the minutes will be there when they're done. When they're drafts and they're given to you all for approval, that's when the minutes become, they're going to be put online and they're going to become available. But I mean, there are a ton of minutes that need to be done. And I have one part-time assistant and we're doing everything else here. So I'll just say, if you know any of these people that are asking for minutes, it's not that I'm trying to hide anything. It's just, it takes so much time to read or listen to the minutes again, make sure the minutes are correct. Whitney writes them up, I review them, and then we bring them to you all to review. And then once they're approved, they're out there. So anyway, so if people complain to you, then I've tried to explain to the best of my ability as to why. Oh, and as Whitney has said, there's also it's minutes that are missing before either one of us ever got here.
But I inherited a stack of minutes to do from years, 2023. Even.
So I've also in your packet drafted a policy clarification for the ARB to better define procedures and expectations for applications and decisions. And then I should have actually talked about this, meeting recordings and minutes. And I'm asking, due to an ongoing staffing limitations and a significant backlog of meeting minutes, I'm recommending that the town suspend creation of the town produced Zoom and video recordings of council meetings for the time being. Virginia law requires that meetings be open to the public and that written minutes be prepared and made available after approval. It does not require that meetings be recorded. So while this pause is in effect, staff will focus on drafting, finalizing, and posting minutes to bring our records current. When staffing levels and workload allow, we can revisit whether to resume town-produced recordings.
So do you have any help with any of this? Do you have anybody that you're willing to work with?
Whitney,
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's a reasonable request because, we know we see the emails, there are a lot of FOIA requests and we have certain people who want financial records and stuff. And like you said, you can only do so much. So I don't see a problem as long as the town is still within legal rights and stuff. There's nothing wrong with putting a pause on this. I mean, if people want to engage, they can show up.
For Zoom meetings, we're already broadcasting it, right?
Yes, sir.
And so we just hit record, right?
Yes, sir.
How much burden is that to upload that?
I think
How much time do y'all spend?
once you upload it, then it's a requirement to
we have to post it so many days, but you know who's actually been doing he comes in the morning and I don't know what the process is, but Jam has been doing the video for us.
To upload it from.
And it takes like maybe 2 hours. So then he gets that, and then we have to upload it to the website
Right.
and ensure that it works during that.
That's a multiple step process.
How much time do you think that takes you total?
6 hours of living.
Yeah, it's like hours.
It takes hours to upload the video. So he comes in the morning, since he's here early. I'm like, Jam, upload the video for me. So he
Correct.
uploads the video. It takes about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then we come back to it. And then I have to sign on to the website
And then put it on.
and upload it. I'm just saying, I mean, it's just one more thing. It should not take that long. You're right. But when I'm sitting here trying to send out B-poll letters to get money coming into the town, I think that's, you know,
I just think the citizens actually click on those links and watch the video. I know I. Yeah, I'm not so sure. I mean, while that might be something we can live without, I'm not sure that the citizens want that.
well, I mean, I'm using all the resources that I have
I
because
understand. Hey, you know,
I really don't think you are on this, but I've offered to help you. I've worked in the office before. I know exactly how to do most of this stuff. And I was doing minutes with Melody before.
you didn't do any minutes when you were the planning commission head. So
Was that called for? That seems a little bit much.
Thank you.
well, maybe, you know, more staff or volunteers.
Somebody brought up the being a hospital and we should two detailed sites.
I know, I love that idea.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
that's,
just Gil has
I don't know what's going on there. I mean, constructive idea. I'm talking to some students. And they're supposed to be getting me their contact information for like Longwood. So they need intern.
That we get the office some help, because if they can't get it up to speed, then we need to get them help.
Well, we are.
They don't want my help, so maybe we. can-
Molly, that is not true. We talked last week.
We talked the week before that.
We talked last week and I said, yes, please come in. Other people have volunteered. Nancy Gill has been in here last week. She was in here again today. She's going through the LGIP stuff.
I'm trying to say that I haven't come over.
No, I'm not. I'm saying other people have helped.
Okay.
We welcome the help.
Okay, so I should just show up and you'll have work for me to do?
Sure.
Okay. I'll be
Yeah.
here tomorrow.
Okay, good. Thank you.
So
So maybe I can post some videos.
Jam's gonna do it tomorrow.
Okay, let Mr. Whitley speak, please.
So I know this is only February, but at this point, you got kids in college looking at internships. And just anecdotally, I was talking to some kids at Longwood, they all need internships, whether it's on the government side or whether it's on an IT side. These are unpaid internships, you know. I don't know, 8-10 hours a week or something like that, right? So, you know, now's the time to get in touch with these folks. I've talked to some of the students and they're supposed to be getting me some contact information. I know in the past, Mayor, we've had interns from UVA that were government.
We've had paid interns and unpaid interns.
Exactly. I think at this point we'd love unpaid, but you know, here we are in February, but you know, that's really only about 3-4 months out and the paperwork to get it done. Is that a program that we can still do here in Scottsville?
I would
Cause you
hope
know,
we could.
I know I've seen stuff that they've, you know, cataloged and stuff online that they've done, and I think I've seen, you know, certificates of appreciation, things like that. But, you know, free labor is free labor, you know, and now, you know, people don't look for interns in the summer, you look now. So, how do we re-energize that?
We've had,
Like,
we have interns at the museum.
Yeah.
And a lot of them come from UVA, and UVA pays half of their salary, and museum pays the other half for the summer. So,
But for the town,
yeah, might be able to work out something like that.
who has points of contact there? Is it something we've exercised in the past, or?
I know it's something Matt had done.
Yeah, that was the last administrator that had input.
And I think it's a really good idea to follow up on that to see what we can do. And you said you had contacts with Longwood.
I was talking to some of the students who, just for their IT internship, they had to do a business degree. They're sitting there waiting for an IT dog call to them off there as long. So this would be right in that same realm and some help. We haven't made just loading stuff on. Now's when you think these things not sooner rather than later. I'll let you know what I can find out, but I'll put them in touch with the town administrator. Because, and she can bring you in, I guess, because one town council member, I can't speak for the town individual. And by the time I come back to get everyone's agreement. But if we can start the ball rolling, through one single point of contact, who has authority, then that's who I'll put them in contact with. Is that okay? All right. If I can get that information.
Lincoln Lewis said as well on the chat that he has UVA contacts, especially for the partially paid internship model. So if that helps.
Yeah, anything.
The one thing I would like to say too, I don't remember when Mr. Merwin started recording the videos. I know it was related to COVID.
Well, we used to do, we had TV camera sitting over in the corner and we recorded all that.
Yeah, they used to be on closer.
I should have walked on the channel, but.
Yeah.
The public channel, which one people know.
Well, the reason I mention it is I'm all for this disclosure of the amazing things we talk about all the time. But at the same time, I hear what you're saying in the sense that I don't want to tie people up to things that are a waste of time or have limited value. So trying to find, on the one hand, if we went the route of not recording, then you would expect us to have fairly robust minutes, I guess I would say.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, if we kept the recording, you could be, I would say, less robust on the minutes because you have the recording to back it up. So that's, I guess, a question we have to discuss. Like, which do we want? Do we want? She's saying it's taking a fair amount of time.
I think it's clear that everybody, or at least most of the people here, like the idea of having the videos. But let's triage this, and what's more important to us? Is it taxes right now, or is it videos? And if the staff has a finite amount of time to work, where are the priorities? We just had a whole meeting related to priorities and what we expect and what we want done. So maybe put it to the side for a little bit.
Well, just follow up to agree with you, Council, has said. The reason we met last week is because we were short on funds, and I would be happy to put the video in the back burner to make sure we have it on this.
Exactly. But I think that we're always hearing from the staff that they're short-staffed, but people are offering their help. I'm glad you have people coming over, and I'm sorry if I snapped at you. I felt like what you said was kind of a low blow, and I don't think you understand what the situation was. But what I'm saying is that I'm offering help, and I don't understand how you could be short of help if you've got a whole bunch of people coming in and helping you, and I've been trying to come help you too. So I appreciate it, that they're under the gun. I'm just trying to say, it's time to use the resources that we have to get us up to speed. Pardon?
Is this something you want to take over? Sounds like a good jump in point.
Take over, like getting interns in and
Videos.
stuff?
Little
Oh,
bit.
sure, I can do the videos. Yeah.
Makes
I mean, I can do that kind of thing. I can do the minutes. I can do filing paperwork. I mean, we talked about me sitting on the floor and just making sure we could find all the files that are around here. I really am not sure I care one way or the other, whatever will help. But I think we can't keep saying, they don't have enough help. Because I've got a lot of time to help.
To go back to the video, would that work? Which if she does, I'm happy to. We can get you a chair. You don't have to sit on.
I offered to do letters and stuff like that to the.
We have already sent the letters. It's what, by the time that you offered your advice on helping send those letters, we had already sent them out. That's why, what I understood was why we didn't need help sending letters.
Okay, that's.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think Jan actually is working well. with the
Yeah, I
videos.
think we've got the videos down and we are getting, I think the point is that with the minutes stacking. I think the suggestion was to try to pause the new data being inserted into the world. We are utilizing our resources and I think what I'm understanding is that the older minutes are less of a concern as the more current ones. So that helps me kind of cut my time doing older ones away. You see what I'm saying? So I think
Sure. If you've got that down, that's great, but if you're saying that you don't have enough help to get better response into 2023, you can get me on it.
on the older ones, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, there's help to be had.
Let me ask you a question. I was thinking this morning, have we had any takers on either town clerk or farmer's market? And the town clerk position is advertised as a part-time position.
Yes,
Would you change that to a full-time position and see if anybody snaps it up? All right,
does the town council want to change it to a?
it's been suggested by a couple of council members that we make it advertised for a full-time. That may be why people aren't doing it. They don't want a part-time job, they want a full-time job. Let's do it, let's try it for a few weeks.
We have strikes against us with pay and all that.
I'd like to save money, but if you're not being an applicant,
You learn on job, like that.
you have change paid.
All right.
Well, I got, when it's interim idea, I really like that, and these interns, maybe you would go with this too, but one of the glaring problems we have, I think, is our website. Yeah, like I think Melody is still listed as town clerk on the website, but yeah, last time I saw. Yeah, and this to update, I think it would take a few hours to learn that, but they get them.
How to do that?
Yeah, I did a little bit of back and then
Website.
we need to get that so it's up to speed and it's current, so you can look on it, who's on this committee and who's that and what's this. And the other thing is, just the vastness of, just, and it's the calendar, that we have a town calendar and we should be able to go to the town calendar. We got all these meetings that are listed in I just think that whole town website could, and we ought to get these to the help of the chamber because they have this excellent, website. And it's kind of indicative of our town. It's the first thing people see. They go to our website and if they can't go there and find things and it just, it looks nice, but it's just outdated. So anyway, that might be something an intro that those people, they're doing computers at the age of 2, So maybe we could get them to help with that or you.
I like the idea of it's again triage. It's what do we want done first, what's the priority?
Yeah.
And again, I think money in my mind stands out as the thing, tax collection is the most important thing right now. And so we're gonna dedicate staff resources to anything, it should be that first and then.
Has anybody gone to visit the businesses?
It's been a little difficult while the ice and snow.
Yeah, but that might be, you did a list of those.
We need a snow ordinance.
I had one of the things before we're ready to, I just would mention where we're at with this is, we were trying to get some support for the levy from the county supervisor approved. Has he ever gotten an official response from him? Because he seemed like he was all for that. Huh?
I'm gonna reach out again, but I haven't heard.
Oh, you reached out to him? Okay, but I think really, they'll probably get writing, so we could, because they were gonna do that, and they're doing their budget right now, but if we could up the ante, would they give us 20,000 a year? And this is a one-time thing, and maybe we could get that, that helps our finances. We'd have to get a grant, but at least get something from him. Look, because I reached out to him one time too, but I think if he indicated that he was gonna try to help us, Yes.
So to follow up on what you said, Councilor Rice, could we officially send them a letter? This is short, maybe Mr. Mayor, maybe.
Well, she,
I have officially sent him a letter.
yeah, well, we need a
When,
response.
how long ago was that one?
Well, let's see, maybe a month and a half. or
Let's
2
send
months
them in
ago.
this, let's send them one this week.
Okay,
Good.
Yeah,
Is that,
agree, agree.
or maybe resend, maybe make it simple to
right,
resend the letter.
well,
I mean, yeah, follow him or.
I had a conversation with him and I think, I tried to explain the conversation, another meeting. I had a conversation with, Mike Pruitt, and I also told you what he was saying, that their council feels like, the town doesn't do enough. That, they want to see, the town build out more because we have, I guess the water and the sewer, the utilities. We have enough utilities that we could build more properties. The conversation was that, I understood also that if we built more houses here, then they would get, more taxes and we would still get almost nothing in return.
They were very clear about that.
So,
They're still gonna keep.
so can I finish, please? So, Thomas Unsworth, spoke with, Nancy Gill, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and he was currently working on Scottsville and our, the letter that I had written before asking, for information and giving him a breakdown of what we were asking for the levy system. I reached out to Thomas Unsworth and he said that it was still under review and that was maybe a week ago. So that's where we are with that.
Maybe we can invite him to one of our meetings. We used to have him come here once, a couple times a year.
I think it's more the time than it can be.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but it, obviously, we know he's running for an office, so we might not got to come back.
He's gonna stay on
The
it.
only other way out is if they come down here, we
We all have administrators still has the floor, so.
That is, all for now. Thank you.
Okay, let's do the committee reports, talk about, so,
We'll get into it, looks like later on. So, nothing new.
okay, plan commission.
I think Nancy covered it in her thing today. On the James Exchange. I don't know if anybody saw that. She had a pretty clear and concise overview of what we did. So if you do have questions, you can check that or check with me.
Nancy sent me notes to read. If you'd like me to,
Right ahead. I don't know why she sent you notes to read.
she sent me
Did she
notes.
not want me to do it?
No, she said if Molly does not report during planning commission, please add this. So,
Does not report. I was getting ready to.
okay, go ahead.
So. We had a special meeting on February 5th for to discuss the 137 East Main Street. That, if you remember, was an SUP that was requested for the old Mason building. And they wanted to do 2 apartments upstairs and 2 downstairs. And we negotiated with him and he agreed officially that he would have 2 upstairs and 1 downstairs in the back. And leave a storefront in the front because our zoning talks about having the front of the building on the main floor be storefront. So we thought that was a good thing, and it was approved unanimously by the planning commission. So that is, I assume that Elizabeth has that. Is it part of the packet? You know that
So, sorry, I was trying to respond to something on here, but, I don't think it's included in the packet.
Okay, I just didn't know, I think that we'll set a meeting for that to have a public meeting, public hearing on that matter. I think that Nancy has probably already said that, but I don't know what the dates are. Does her sheet of paper that she wanted you to read, did it have the date of this hearing for the town council?
It says that, the majority of the meeting was dedicated to the comp plan, which is currently scheduled for March 2nd. I guess it's been.
Yeah, I was talking about 137
Oh.
East Mason, television. So we'll need to set a meeting for that. So how do you feel about the 23rd? Oh, that's not enough time. So would we have enough time to do a special meeting for the 23rd?
Why is it?
Not a special meeting, I can't do a special meeting.
That's what I.
That is a regular meeting, but could we also have the public hearing? Do we have enough time?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, but do we have enough time to,
that's fine.
okay, all right.
To advertise, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Okay, and then, let's see. We discussed the comp plan as Elizabeth had said, so that is supposed to be, we're supposed to be having some special meetings on the 18th with individual members of the town council, the 18th of February, so that on the 23rd, we could, wait a minute. Yeah, we're having a special meeting so that we can give our recommendation on the 23rd, I thought.
Why with individual members of council?
I don't actually know the answer to that. She is,
He did, just on the side, he emailed me a couple of days ago and asked me to join the company.
yeah,
And because I've been following it since the beginning, and I did last one, so I know. But
I think we anticipated that you would have questions.
yeah, well, I'm not gonna make it, but I told him I would look at it, but I would like to know how I could actually get a copy of it. Is it online?
No, it's not. It's not even online to us from him.
Because I told him I could look at it and get with him and send my comments. But
We
just do.
we will certainly take, I will talk to Nancy about
Right, I just
that.
think it ought to be to everybody to give them comp so we have a chance to really review it, and because it's probably 100 pages or 80 pages or something like that.
Right, we're just talking about turning it over to you. I don't know.
It'd be nice to see it ahead of time, so we're not like inundated with more papers, you know.
I get you. I think that was part of what this special meeting was gonna be for.
Okay,
was
so if you
to-
can send me a copy, we'll find a way to do that. I think I'd like to look at it.
Yeah, like I said, I'll have to talk to Nancy because I'm not in charge of that thing.
Yeah, her note says here that they'll hold a special meeting on February 18th to finalize the plan, draft the required resolution. And then she's reminding us that 2 public announcements are required for publicizing next month's public hearing. So, yeah, so it's one announcement and then you have to wait so many days. I think it's a subsequent week and advertise for that one.
So she's saying a meeting on the 18th and the public hearing.
So it's not an official meeting. So that's why Bill Heisen was the only one that was asked. I think that he was looking to get into the Twitter.
Yeah.
Walter and Roger.
Well, I looked at it a few years ago or a year ago or so, and there was a lot of it outdated and incorrect and some omissions. And so, you know, I gave him that feedback back then.
We've come a long way.
Yeah, so I'm sure that, I mean, town's changed so much and everything, it's hard to make it current, because you know, I don't even know if the new development is in there as much. But anyway, I'd like to see it ahead of time so I can get it.
I understand what you're saying. I really do, and I'll convey that to Nancy and to Lincoln.
Yeah,
So
I would email Lincoln, because I can't communicate you.
okay. So that's what I've done.
Any questions for Ms. Angela? Thank you. On the services.
Will, I don't know if that go a whole lot, but I put it in your packet, it's a draft of, we've been tasked with trying to get that, while get something where the Caldwell County. So I don't know if we need to do that now, but if you have any comments, but it would be good to actually have an official policy on Caldwell Fund, so 20 years from now, people go, hey, here's Caldwell Fund, and this is what it's all about. And that's part of the reason they didn't have a void on it to find out, how it's been used and what it's been used for, and anyway, that's in your packet. The other thing, the government service did, they started looking at the plowing and the snow confusion of the streets and particularly the sidewalks. So I guess we're gonna be tasked with looking at that in the future. But I do want to point out that, we were supposed to have a food pantry tomorrow. And I got an email call from the Blue Ridge Area Food Bank and said, like, has the town plowed the farmer's market? I said, we don't plow the farmer's market. We don't have a plow. But it's something to think about. If we do, and I talked to the chief about it, do parking lots. Maybe we should do all the town parking lots, not just the municipal parking lot and his parking lot, but maybe the Canal Basin Square, the farmer's market, and the chief's place, so that cars can park there or whatever, just so the parking lots are clean, and then we can let the businesses take care of the streets and or the sidewalks. Anyway, there's no farmer's market. It'll be the 24th, and this is the third one that's been canceled because of the weather. So, but if anybody knows of anybody really desperate for food, we have emergency food we can give to them, but it won't be until the 24th that they have to.
There's no backup location, or is that the only place they can do
it? Well, I thought we could do it at the county parking lot because that was really well done. But it just looked like it was too problematic to do it in a parking lot. That's what they start with anyway. But no, they don't have a bar track. They use it, the farmer's market. You drive around, put them in the trunks, and then they drive out. And that's and I was there and I took pictures, and she saw that, and she said that's could be dangerous. So because it is. So anyway, but you can't, and it was icy, so it's really hard to plow ice. So yeah.
Any reports on parks?
No, we didn't need it.
Mr. Walker.
Sir.
Here.
Yep, so I know this couple of meetings had liaison, but wanted to just review our calendar. We have our home and garden show meeting. There's been a subcommittee for home and garden show, subcommittee for the wine fest, making good progress. Subcommittee for Fridays on the Canal. We're miles ahead of schedule compared to where we were last year as far as booking and sponsorships, and so all that is good news. The one thing that we decided in our last meeting, I don't know if it's been delayed or not, but for the Fridays on the Canal moving forward, all the vendor fees that come from the food trucks or whatever will be donated to the town for maintenance for them. But yeah, I think that's the main thing, is that we are more organized than we have been in the past, and hopefully that shows in more successful events and more activity in the town.
All right, that's great.
Oh, I did get some comments from Charlottesville folks as well, passing through how much better Scottsville was than the parking spots with us. So well done on all parties that were involved in communication that happened with that.
Being order.
Yeah.
Any further treasurer report at this point?
No.
Hold on one moment. Nancy Bill said that she would like to speak on behalf of the scan.
Okay, let's, she's at the bottom of the list, so tell her to sit tight.
Yes, yes, sir.
Treasurer.
No, I already.
Anything else right now?
Yes.
Hey, that's coordinator,
Nothing.
not the note. All right, Nancy Gill's up.
Okay. Can you hear us? Miss Nancy, are you ready?
Yeah. to unmute.
Let's do that. Mr. Mayor. Well, maybe I should.
Andrew would wanna take over, taking over the supervision.
So that we talked about that, and then, Will Smith was contacted from the Basketball Foundation, he wanted and ready to run.
Okay.
So not officially a chamber, but, that's.
He did it last year. Pretty much.
Yeah, they're very passionate about that one.
Good.
That's really great.
Oh, I think she's ready.
Okay, so I just want to report that SCAN is under new leadership. I'm the president. Nathan Naughton is the vice.
Speak. Get into your microphone, Miss Nancy.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Not very well.
Yeah, I'm on my my laptop and I don't have. Okay, how's that?
Okay, it's better.
Okay. As I was saying, SCAN, we have new leadership. I'm the president. Nathan Naughton is the vice president, and Adelaide O'Brien is our treasurer.
Okay.
So what I am hoping next month, you will hear from other board members on a basis other than me.
Okay.
And we will have events. We do have music coming up in March and also a play in April. And that's all I have to say on that.
Okay, will you repeat the first sentence about the new leadership?
See if I can't. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was a us problem and not a you problem.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We have new leadership, and I'm the president. Nathan Naughton is the vice president, and Adelaide O'Brien is the treasurer.
Okay.
And one of my goals is not to have me come to these meetings because I think you see enough of me. And I would like to see our other board members participate in reaching out to town council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you for your report. I haven't looked at the plat for a long time, but I don't believe all of the parking lot between the Dr. Joyce's office and now this is sort of wall along to the town. But they could be done with it. It's half the parking lot of the center responsibility for the other parents.
Yeah.
And
My only concern about the town. I think there's any lot that's not directly in town, if any going to do it, you come back on the town with repair. And speaking from experience, if Mike was talking about, clearing the lot because nobody could get around to use it or whatever. A plow can be very damaging, I'm in the wrong hand. And so I just,
Well, I mean, it's important to make sure the contractors we're hiring have insurance.
Yeah.
Even might solve that problem as well.
all right, let's turn this
Something to do.
let's turn this over to staff and let them continue on with the item 6A, B, and C, and D, and E.
So this was a continuation from last week's meeting. I know a couple different council members were talking about the committees and whether you wanted to have additional committees or you wanted to get rid of committees. So the only information that I put in the Your packet was was regarding the GSC.
Well, we have a charter committee. I thought I gave it out last week to people. There's the town approved a couple of years ago about the basic committees, and it includes the ARB and the planning commission and the town council. But anyway, there's just to reiterate, or just kind of go over, we have 3 charter committees that are besides ARB, the planning commission and town council, and they are the public service workshop, which we just started. And that might replace, I guess, that replacing the emergency preparation committee. We have the government service committee and we have the parks and rec committee. So there's other ones that we have committees, we can have committees about, but they're not really committees, they're just the proposed committees. There are 2 committees that I think if we had a number of people, I think would be good to have. One would be a financial review committee to help with the finances. But the other one, I think it might be nice to have some committee who, especially if somebody has expertise in it, is kind of a building and ground committee to help get bids and contracts, and because there's that's a lot of work for someone to do if they don't know what needs to be done. For example, we need the ceiling of the posts on Canal Basin Square and also the farmers market. We need new signs at the beginning and end of town. We need people to do that and get contracts. And that's getting those kind of things, you usually have to get 2 or 3 or even the letter, it takes some time and effort to do that. And somebody knows those companies and that. But anyway, those are 2 of the committees that I would consider we have people to do it.
I don't know that we have people to do it.
We don't.
Honestly, I think we should get rid of some committees.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of product coming out of most of the committees, so.
We have an economic development committee that's really that. But what I like is he's the contact person, and maybe that's the way we should go. Is have Rogers. We don't have an events committee, but Rogers kind of a coordinator of the events. I guess not coordinator, but a point person, a contact. Maybe instead of a committee, just have a contact.
If someone has an issue or a question,
Right.
something, I can try to help.
Right.
Things
But you're not. You don't have.
and the chamber of folks, they
Just thinking about that as an example, I mean, I think it makes sense that rather than keeping the events committee going.
Yeah, just have
The
a
chamber's been doing a great job,
Yeah.
and does a great job, I think, in town,
Yeah.
in my opinion, we wanna hold on to the 4th of July.
Yeah.
The staff traditionally done that,
Yeah.
but I don't think that's a committee that's.
No, we don't have a committee for events. We just have a point person. I do think we need a point person for farmers market. Because that's kind of like, when it's not under any umbrella and that we get contact about it,
That's why we need a market manager.
Yeah.
That
and that would be the point person for the farmers market, yeah,
But too many people know that it's a tough one.
yeah. But anyway, so some of these committees are, I don't think you can have a committee of 1, but maybe you just need some point persons or contact people.
I think a lot of this stuff can be solved by council as well. I don't know that creating more committees is necessarily the solution. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to us discussing it here.
Right.
And it's nice to have people flesh out information for you, but it's our responsibility within the day.
Right.
Not only creating committees within a.
Right.
Affect that.
Sometimes they get through the background work, and they check on things, So like a park when it existed, if we just did everything here about a park, we had a really strong park today, but it was kind of come to a standstill. But we got maps, we got trails marked, we got understanding of how the park works, but we don't have any money to prove it. So but I think that's what they do, and they're specialized and stuff like that.
One of the things Councilor Hassel, I might say is, having done the park committee before, there was a time where we were a vibrant committee, and then we sort of decreased. And I think makes your point that usually it takes a champion of a person to really have a vision for whatever it is. And I come back to this point is that if there are some committees that are visionless, maybe they need to be visionless. Maybe they don't need to be existing at the moment.
Yeah. I agree.
No, it's like, have something needs to be done, they ask for a volunteer, but you don't need to create a committee to do it. Eddie being here last week and talked about the, need for a pharmacy, which, we all know we need one. I had asked him, since he's done a lot of research on it, to be the point person for finding us a pharmacy, so he's taking that.
I talked to Eddie today, and it sounds like he would like some official ruling from council to kind of give them some authority to pursue that. I think that's a good idea as well. I don't think we can vote on it today, but we can do it next week.
We don't go on literally vote, we can officially do it, I appointed. That's his job, but we can officially, okay that at the next
Yeah,
council.
that sounds good.
Because he's done a lot of research here, lately on. Getting rid of funds.
I think that if I can add, not that anything, I don't see anyone here being against giving Eddie a free leash on case that down. But the committee thing, I think if we're gonna continue these committees, there needs to be some standard of reporting back to the council. Government services rarely gives recommendations. A lot of the committees are just kind of doing their own thing. And I think that we need to have.
The committee's function is to make offer suggestions.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what we're doing with that.
When's the last time y'all made that?
We said, we got minutes down, we said minutes.
Well, your minutes.
But I mean, I don't know what you mean by regulations.
I'm saying,
You sit down with the council and you say, well, we were talking about this subject here, and the committee would like to. Not propose, but we would offer the recommendation to the council goes this, it's all that follow. Then we talk about it, we vote on.
I feel like specifically government services and again, not trying to stir the pot here. It seems like a lot of the work you guys do stays within committee.
Well, it never goes anywhere. I understand, right?
So
It never
I
goes
would
anywhere.
see that be a little more.
It is already positive.
Well, let's start with the Caldwell Council. Let's come up with a policy on that. Everybody look at that and let's vote on that and get that taken care of, knock that off. Because that's been, we've talked about it for a while, it's been on the minutes for a while, but we've never officially come up with a specific policy. And I think we did pretty good, but if not, maybe we'll just go with this next week. Maybe just put that up for vote on next week.
I did draft something.
That's later in the agenda.
Okay. All right, well, let's just get an official thing and vote on that and get that taken care of. Yeah, I like to get things done too. I don't like to talk about it, posting.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on.
Yes, sir.
Item B,
All right, ARB notification clause. This is also in your document here. This is just a review of what's already been put out there. Quick reference, Town Council retains the discretionary authority to review the ARB decisions. That's already existing in our charter. The Town Council is not required to review every ARB decision, and a review must occur within 30 days of an ARB decision. Appeals filed by applicants or agreed parties within 30 days, and council can hear the appeal and decides within 60 days. Council authority may only be exercised by council acting as a body. Individual council members have no independent authority to approve ARB, overturn, or direct staff or ARB outside a public meeting. I also included a document here that's the Architectural Review Board decision summary, so you could take a look at what that looks like after ARB makes a decision on a project. So I'm asking this to go along with the project, and then when it's presented to town council, like the people that came here earlier, that application is filled out. And then for those that like to read a little bit more and look at the codes and see where the sections and it is in the town charter, there's a memo that talks about the process, the timeframes, and again, the council authority. So it does give the town council the right to review ARB decisions at your discretion. When council deems such review necessary to the proper administration of the ordinance.
And I like having this on like this, and that could serve the purpose, but I haven't seen it, but they are required to have minutes.
Yes,
Do you do minutes?
I do not.
Does your ARB?
So that is
ARB
up for debate right now. We actually haven't had anything other than that come over.
I mean, I wonder if this suffice, we didn't have to do minutes, but you just put this in there and that's your minutes, but I'm not about. Maybe that's, you don't have to have a whole lot on the minutes, just decisions.
Yeah,
Recommendations.
a lot of it can be discussion, and then we have inventory as well. I think it's valuable to keep, don't have to be extensive. But that's actually going back and forth right now. I know I'm heading out for ARB. I'm not doing that.
Official,
but until we pick somebody else at our annual meeting, I'm gonna sit in on meetings and.
Does anybody do minutes at all?
So it's been the staff traditionally.
Yeah,
It's going back to,
that's why we need a full-time person to do this kind of stuff.
but that's going back to the committee right now.
Yeah, okay.
And so
That's, yeah.
we actually haven't met and
How many people are on your committee?
technically, I think 5.
So you guys touch Oakland or we got a full vote?
We have an architect.
Okay.
I've been on there for like 2 years and I've never met him. So he exists apparently. We have not met him, but usually it is Brad Barker, Claire McMahon, Josh Beck and myself. That's the whole meeting.
Okay. So you said you're heading out, you're resigning?
I already did, I think.
So you haven't got anybody taking place yet?
No.
Maybe somebody from here, Dan?
We need a liaison from council. Yep. Yep. But has Jim went through the new ordinance yet?
What
The
new ordinance?
proposed ordinance for ARB,
It's not a new ordinance.
all the changes to it?
It's clarification of,
Okay.
but no, not yet, but I can certainly send it his way.
Yeah, let's have a look over that.
Yeah, it's not new.
All right, anybody else?
I mean, you could start recruiting the ARB. I'm not gonna be on there. I'm wondering if you can say somebody else needs to step up. Great, you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah, I don't mind sticking with it until somebody shows interest, but just so they have to warm.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else would like to do it, I would be very happy to.
Yeah, no.
Man, what's next?
We have C is tax calendar. That is just a document that I provided actually to you all last week. Councilman Whitley had asked about some of the revenue streams or when payments and things like that came in. So that was a response actually that I had written to Councilman Whitley that I thought perhaps the other council members would like to see the answers to.
Great response, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was asking, but
Yeah.
I mean, so when you're looking at the revenue, you think, well, meals tax is your biggest single point. But, there's many other little things of revenue that come in. I don't know what all of them are, so I started looking at like franchise tax, what's in the ordinances, how often is that paid? Budget, when does that come in, I hear people talk about January is slow, so why is it slow,
Yeah.
So I started pulling out town ordinances and then look comparing that to state codes. What is allowed, example, I thought about cigarette taxes, if a meeting, we can't do cigarette taxes, that's capped at the state level at 2 cents a cigarette. So 40 cents a pack. So a place like Charlottesville is more because they're grandfathered in on 2020 law. The state is 60 cents. You can tax up to 40 cents, which was done. Which if you're a tobacco company, you take that deal all day because now you've frozen your taxes at 2020 40 cents, not inflation adjusted down, right? Then you only fight one fight, and there was somebody else to raise your taxes, not 100 counties and cities. So it's little things like that, right? And so I was looking at like utility tax. There's two utility taxes, right? It's one is consumption tax, and the other is like service kind of tax, right? So what can we charge? And if you look at the town ordinance, it's like this is not up to date like the state tax, right? So if you look at your gas bill or your electric bill, you'll see a Scottsville tax on it. $3 on electric, $2 for gas. And it looks to me, I just I'm not even a small town attorney. I've only watched Matlock a bunch. But if you look at the state code, it looks like $3 could be charged on gas. Whereas I'm only paying $2 in my Columbia hookup, right? So it's like I started reading through all this, and the follow up on the sales tax. How can 1% only be a few tens of thousands of dollars? Whereas if cigarette tax, if it's say $50,000-$60,000 a year, how many packs of cigarettes are you generating out of this town at 40 cents a pack to get to that money? So I don't do public math here anymore, right? But you're basically looking at, if you had 500 smokers of a pack a day and they all buy their cigarettes here in Charlottesville, you'll get to about 150,000 packs of cigarette that get generated out of this town, for 40 cents a pop to get to, $60,000, whatever it is we get, right? So, what the heck is the cannabis tax going to do to the big cups, right? So it's things like that. And then Elizabeth took it and went way beyond what I was looking at. And she's got the codes and, do some research here and find some money. I don't think we can raise a lot of these of the state codes, but, then you start to think, well, what's coming down the pipe from the state level? I think the cannabis tax, or the cannabis deal is probably going to happen if you listen to the pundits. So what's the local tax rate, right? They're talking about 3%. So how much would that generate? I don't know. No one thought the cigarette tax would generate what it does. There's another one I'm not sure is going to make it through, but it's the ability for localities to tax liquid nicotine at 11 cents a milliliter. I don't know if that one's going to make it through. If you want to make it known the importance of that in localities, reach out to Tom Garrett and Senator Deeds and who's our Albemarle side, forget her name on it right this second. Yes, thank you. Yes. Reach out to those folks and see if they can make it known. And also, I don't know if people read these emails that come in from the Virginia Municipal League and things that you're watching at the state level. Councilor Townsend had mentioned about the red cameras, speed cams, right? Well, those are quite unpopular amongst people.
Not popular, but they generate more money.
But there's a bill at the assembly level. I don't know what it's going to be to make those illegal, to do away with those. And there's also one talking about IT, and I don't know if you've noticed this one, but every town or every locality has to have a .gov address if that passes instead of a .org address.
That's what I've been working towards. I've gotten a lot of that.
Well, that's not
steps
part of a bill from the assembly to make that a requirement. I mean, that's just going to make, and the
Makes it
Virginia
safer.
Municipal League is in opposition now. So, you can make a call or, send an email or whatever if you're against that kind of thing, making it another burden upon the town or localities to then go out and update all their emails and everything. Anyways, but this was a great response. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for looking at it.
There was someone was thinking about, I got a good idea to raise cigarette tax.
I think on page 7, it talks about,
You can't do it.
Yeah, no.
And the state reserves cigar, dip, snuff, whatever, tobacco products legally to themselves. So we can't. That was another great idea I had. Try to find some money. But I do think there's some space in that gas bill, because it does say $3 in the state code. And we only pay $2.
And the cannabis is really things to be coming.
Watch the now being celebrated when it passes from some folks, and I guess I wish it was all illegal, but if you're gonna make it legal,
Yeah,
then it's not I'm gonna tax it, because that would be
Yeah, I
already
agree.
for decades.
do the max of that.
Yeah, there's other things that, I don't know where,
Do research.
these, the skill games that you see in the different convenience stores. At one point, that was a line in our budget for revenue source, and that's gone away because of all kinds of legal issues. But, see what you can tax, for the local side. And when you can't tax it, complain back up to our state level, representatives.
Thank you.
But anyway, this is great detail.
Yeah, good research.
And I still, can someone explain the 1% sales tax?
I think they base it on students, something like that. I could be totally wrong on that, but the reason the
Came up in that meeting.
explanation I heard is that they redistribute it back to us based on students in our.
Tax is paid.
I asked Drew that, he said no, but that wasn't,
Yeah, I don't know. I just like that 1% of all the revenue that gets generated in this locality, is that supposed to come back to us, or is it just like?
They want that foods.
Yes, and their argument that we're essentially a burden on them is. I don't know how much burden of our town incorporates does the county have?
yes, that's a much bigger burden.
We cover more of the county with our emergency response folks. And if, if you believe what our supervisor said when he was down there last summer, was that people wanted their property taxes raised, and I want them to pay for services. And those services weren't just schools, it was emergency response. So they hired more firemen, right?
But not for deer.
But not here. And we cover their territory, so you can't say that even the property taxes just cover the schools. I think sometimes you just give the schools a piece so they can justify it. But that's my opinion. I'm taking up to Doug here.
I have a question for you, speaking of taking taxes or whatever, back to the business and meals tax and stuff, so right now, businesses are supposed to pay as a percentage of what they sell, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, so is there a minimum that they need to pay if they don't meet? Let's just say you have
a new business or a business that's not really doing.
They per month?
I think it's $30.
Okay, now, what if we have a vendor, when you go up there, they claim they don't have any prices, they claim that everything that you get from the vendor is by donation only.
Oh, yeah, like the one I was working.
No, we have something by donation only, so basically, in theory, I could go up and order, let's say, a couple tacos, and if I don't wanna donate, I walk off with it, there's no price there. Well, how do you tax someone who lists their businesses by donation only?
That's called.
She's gonna pay the minimum.
I don't know.
So
That,
As far as I'm concerned, if you're gonna conduct business in Scottsville as a business owner, you need to pay the tax, you gotta pay the plan. Bottom line, I do not believe that if anyone's to come to the town of Scottsville and try to play the loophole or whatever, it's not fair. It's not fair to the town of Scottsville, and it's not fair to the other vendors.
So if we find out,
did you say agreed? Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear whether it was Alex or you.
You know what I'm talking about, correct? Yeah. So
I was just curious, if we found out about the food trucks.
So there's also something, what the Navy taught me was to read the instructions and regs, because it was all something, right? And so when I start to think about food trucks and where they're located, right? So if you have food trucks at the farm company, that's probably some different level of regulation at the state level for farmers market, right? What they're allowed to sell is considered prepared food.
Yes.
And then there's a question I don't know, I'd have to start reading, so I don't know. Just-
Okay.
But there's also,
But I just was curious if they'd never paid before, was the only thing I was curious.
I'm sorry, who had ever paid?
The food trucks down at the,
so
who have been paying taxes.
Living from this.
Some of them do.
Sure.
But they are very fine, someone is fed up.
So then there's another one that say, and I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, but when you go to something like a Canal Basin Square Pilates thing. I know that there's a lot of regulations you have to have because there's alcohol there, and it's an ABC. Gets their hands there, that's why you can't bring it outside water. Or, you know,
Oh, yeah.
and then have, you risk it. I know there's different rules that start to come into effect, and I don't know the ins and outs of those food trucks, if they do don't sell alcohol there, I think. So there's regs and ordinances and code of all this.
Yeah,
And it's like,
absolutely. I just wanted to know whether they.
when I start taking out light, I'm off.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there's one thing I'm still good at, is being wrong.
Oh,
But if I can point back to this, then it's like,
yeah, then
it's what the state
it's
code said.
strong.
Why
Yes.
is it $3 a month?
But I think there's some revenue to be had there as well, if we can, find someone to talk to them and bring them up to speed. Better come up in the chamber.
There's only one that I know of that's operating like that, and we don't include it in our event.
Well, I was just talking about like all of the food trucks.
Yes,
and
as
stuff like
far as
that.
I know, the ones that we use are paying their business.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's certainly something to look at and make sure that it's going along, but if that's the case, then. Thank you.
I gotta understand for popcorn downstairs.
I know, right? That's some revenue. They charge like.
Very fair. If I find a Girl Scout or what can I stand in summer?
No, it's true. You have to go out there and you have to treat everyone exactly the same, but their prices are kind of perfunctory, I think.
Okay, what else?
All right, so the last item is the LGIP policy development, and as Councilman Heisen said earlier, he sent us 4 bullets earlier, guidelines as a draft. It's 4 bulleted items, and so I took that and input his information into a draft policy that says work session draft for discussion only. And it's information that you guys have to go through and decide, like, for example, 2 accounts under LGIP. One is the Caldwell Fund. We know that. The other one doesn't really have a name. It has an account number. So what do y'all want to call it? And if you go through this document, it goes, I don't know what you all want. This is all what you guys have to decide. Like, is Caldwell Fund a reserve fund held and intended to provide short-term emergency and cash flow support? Or is it the unnamed LGP fund? So, and then it goes through, I talked about permitted uses. I think Mr. Heisen wanted to know permitted uses. So I put in for emergencies, cash flow management, reimbursable grants. All this is not going to be applicable, but I wanted to start with something to provide you all so you could start thinking about it. There's prohibited uses, permitted uses, and then balances, like what do you want to look at the balance and say at least a certain percent of the general fund, or how many days of operating costs? Then of course there's council action. How do we withdraw money? How do you want to approve it? Do you not want to allow the mayor and the town administrator to do it. I don't really care one way or the other, but it's in here for you all to decide how you want to do this. And then there's accounting and reporting. And then draft reserve funds policy, like how do you want to pay it back and how long do you want to take to pay it back? I will certainly do whatever you all ask me to do regarding this, but it's up to you all.
All of them, it seems like that's not but it's a special donation that we should just deal with that. And then LGIP, I always thought that was just a general fund that, you know, everything you could use, that would be used in, like, if you didn't make payroll, you could use for that, but not the callable fund. Callable fund, it seemed like it was real specific when it was.
Well, it hasn't been specific
No,
because I don't have any information.
Like,
so-
no, that's what I brought up, so, and let's make this a special emergency fund, but I don't, the LGIP, I could ask, like, Gordon, some of the old timers of what this is all about, because they have the institutional memory, but I know they met the question of Caldwell Fund used to have a couple $100,000, it was real stable, and it's used for this, and this, so that's why we focus on that. We can look at that too. I mean, the government can look at LGIP too, if they can find any information about that. Some from maybe Nancy Gilbert knows some of that too.
GIP is a higher interest view, right? It's something that
No idea.
we can do.
I gave you all documents last week that has, well, then I don't know what to say about that, but
Oh, we did create mailboxes, but we were suggesting, but they're actually there, so if you would like to deposit your paperwork.
Yeah.
May.
so I think you're gonna be working a long time, or maybe not a long time.
Well, let me follow up.
Okay.
First of all, thank you for that information. Let's be circumspect. The circumspect is we dipped into the fund, we used it. We're trying to say, okay, at the moment, from what I understand last week, we're in a better place financially now.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, we did make payroll without
So how does
borrowing any money.
Future ones.
No, so are we on a trajectory where we're gonna make payroll the next time?
I wouldn't say trajectory. That makes me think of like this.
Sure.
I'm thinking more like this.
So,
But because also taxes are, and that's why I put the information in there too, what the town is going to be receiving. So as it's been said before, like December, January, February are really, tight months of revenue. So then come March 1st is when the B poll taxes are due for 2026.
that's great, but my point is, I just want to make sure we've done whatever we could do. Okay, we've made payroll. We need to make payroll. We need to make sure that we pay our bills, make payroll, and we need to make sure that's solved first. Thinking about what we do with Caldwell Fund B is later. Like this is first. The first step is so. I guess I would say when you look at the funds that we have or what we expect to come in, we need to know in a predictive sense, are we stable enough going forward? Or to what level are we stable? Because everything else is subjective, but that's the bottom line. That's also what our fellow town council here was trying to.
Weren't you supposed to give us the information? They're supposed to, that AMD company or whatever is going to give us information by February 5th or something. Did you get that?
I gave you it, it was labeled.
Oh, okay, so we have that.
It was 2 months,
So we do have that.
yeah, it's for
Yes.
January and December, yes.
Oh, I thought that was in the month of January.
That's exactly what it looks like,
Okay, so that's it.
man, thank you.
Okay. That might be
And they
something.
actually are working on January's. So just to point out, I had to provide them some information today. But they're doing the monthly accounting. So they will have January's, report out. So I'll have that to give you all on the, 23rd.
We're gonna,
But as far as payroll, when I looked at one of the accounts today, we had 14,000. And then we had 11,000 in another account. And our payroll generally has been, well, until the town clerk resigned, it's been around 14,000. So now it's a little bit less than that.
I just want to make sure, so that's the first thing is to make sure we're out of the hole and we're moving that
Well,
forward.
the use of this money was an emergency and it's not gonna be.
Yeah,
Gonna be
Yes, yeah.
And
That was-
with the expectation that it'll be replenished
Yes, but it's,
when the.
you all decide when it
The way it's set up now,
replenished.
the way it's set up now, if there's somehow something was to unfortunately happen, where it may payroll. You can access the fund to make payroll happen, right? Now, it sounds like right here, you want to be able to have approval by the town council. Well, you know what? How do you go about that, call it emergency meeting? Or that? So you would rather our employees sit there and wait till after the town council decide it's okay to get to the fund? Or do you want them to get paid on time?
Well, I think that's an easy thing we will decide right.
That's a state law, isn't it? I mean, I don't think we have.
So what we think is a fair policy for an event, a payroll event, we'll call it. This comes up again.
She did not have the communication she needed. I think it's kind of like the snow remove. Like this was a very odd situation.
Well, Nancy was telling me that this is something the staff had been, not necessarily from the Caldwell Fund, but from our saving accounts.
Right.
Had been doing every year and it's slow taxing, but I think. Just to clarify for the staff, is this a big no-no from council? Or are we gonna say, okay, in an emergency, which I think this payrolls an emergency.
That was an unfortunate emergency.
I think that's an appropriate use. I think the understanding should be. Put the money back in when we have it. I don't,
My thing,
there's any conflict here beyond that.
well, I don't think it was an emergency. I believe it was a part of a town business is not doing their share. If they. If everyone does what they're supposed to do, we won't be in this situation. And that's why I'm saying earlier, and I previously reasons that we need to have more of a firm approach when we deal with the business. If we're gonna be soft and walking eggshells, we're gonna be right back where we are again.
Well, I think that for a while, they weren't asked to pay these taxes.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right in front.
And I'm saying, I think, because I don't know for sure, I'm just saying that. In the absence of some sort of authority,
right,
they'll often not.
especially if it's several months, if it's 1 month, it's different, but if it's 3 or 4 months, then somehow they're getting away with it.
I mean, I think that's why you all are having to work so hard to get these taxes in.
Well, we set a meeting on taxes and what we're trying to do, so we have solutions. Set out right now that we're gonna see if they work or don't work. But I think as far as what we can do as a council for this specific situation, specific fund is just give direction. Hey, if we're gonna cover payroll in the future, is this how we're gonna do it? Or is this, or we wanna pull it from somewhere else? Anybody have input on it?
And how do you want to get notified?
Yes.
But I think that LGA,
Yeah, you can pull it, you
yeah, that's fun, but
could
that's,
have been, put it this way, could have been pulled out of the savings account.
yeah,
Not callable.
yeah,
Okay.
that's the way it should be.
And that's what it should have been done, should have been taken out. Caldwell Fund, ever since it's been established, it's been the policy that the council approves any withdrawals from the Caldwell Fund. Just like when we took $75,000 out to get the new truck, $50,000 out of the truck.
Well, I saw here that you put, accepted uses, like the grant. Where, got the money out of there and put it right back. I get that, yeah. I think that, with lack of direction, she was able to handle the situation just fine. I don't think it should be even an issue, especially since we're gonna pay attention to the details and write up a solid policy. That's my opinion, I guess.
If we can do a council, we said, we as council need to stick together, put the directive. That way, when the directive's in order. Town administrator can do what needs to be done, instead of, having to have a micromanager.
And I mean, what would be the downturn to having an email sent to all of town council to ask for a response? I know that doesn't come
Take action.
but I'm just saying that if in this situation, she had had access to town council and the responses from us for a special, action.
Might have to talk to Jim about that. That
Okay,
might be an illegal action.
okay. Because I just feel like that would have helped the situation. We can't wait for the meeting, but we're hopefully looking at the budgets for
The savings account, yes, if you don't need special meeting or a council approval.
That's
town
true.
administrator think about the savings.
Then I
account.
think that the Caldwell is a no.
I gave you a code was for that. Before we had special council, okay, but she did it anyhow, all right?
I don't think she did
It
that.
didn't quite happen that way, okay? Don't say I just did it anyhow.
Well, next thing I knew it was done.
Well-
We are so past that, and I think we're gonna look to the future and do some budgeting and make sure we have that money in the.
And Miss Nancy wanted to clarify that before, when they did use emergency funding, it was from the second LGIP fund, so but I think that, our. New administrator did not understand the difference between either of them,
Yeah,
because there isn't policy, but
that's what
I think it was just a simple.
I hear you, I hear you and I hear you and.
Things happen, we're moving to the future.
Anything else we want to talk about?
Well, the one thing is, really got start looking at budget, and we're gonna get another one of these, this was pretty helpful the last few years, we made these like spreadsheets of this. Is that a possibility to get that the next month or two? When we have the
We're talking about 20.
budget proposal, yeah.
More
Yeah, 26 points, yeah, 26.
For next year.
Yeah, because we started on that last year about this time.
So we're not on budget, huh?
Yeah, that's, I think, yeah.
I don't know, I was at.
Well, Elmar, good place already talking about it, so I.
Then they have
I make all of it.
1,000 employees too.
The council.
That's the other budget law.
Yes.
Goodbye.
Look, for July,
Yeah.
thank you.
Probably needed to pay, because you gotta. We are,
You do.
Any other comments or questions?
well, so you're gonna wrap this follow thing for next meeting where we can just vote on that.
No, that's what you all have to do.
Yeah, that's what we're
Come
gonna.
back to your.
I don't draft anything
You
else.
want to, okay,
The council needs to look at that and decide how you want it.
okay.
I'm gonna put mine in my.
Yes, Mayor Mark and Jam made the labels and the mailboxes. Yes, I'm telling you, I've been putting them to work in a lot of stuff.
No, sir.
Thank you. There was so much.
Thank you.
How about